I'm calling it right now. Versus pulse chain. Versus pulse chain. We're going to be talking about this a lot in the next year. We are about to see, not financial advice. Not financial advice. Please do not take this as financial advice. This is all speculation. 100%. I feel we are about to see the largest hockey stick you've ever seen in your life. I'm calling it right.
What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of my intro? It was a little hokey. I got to figure out how to do those. Let me get on this space. It's supposed to be on the space, dude. Let's see. 6 people in here watching me fumble. I'm live. Yeah, I'm live on my channel, but I'm supposed to be on the space. Here we go, man. Request. How's it going, everyone? Make sure my volume's up. Zen, coach.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, guys? My phone might be a little loud since I'm in the car.
Okay. I played a little intro video that I made today for the viewers on YouTube. Yeah, it was pretty lit. It could be done better, but I really liked it. You may have seen it in the chat, Zen.
I don't think I did because I haven't seen any cool videos, so I'll look for it when we get off of here.
Okay.
I've been having a hard time keeping up with the chat completely as much as I used to, just because there's been so much chatting going on in there. If I get too behind, I just say, okay, I'm not catching up on this. I'm just skipping to where we are.
Sure. Yeah. No, I dropped this in the other chat that we're in.
Oh yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay.
I'll look though when we get off here. Yeah, interesting day, huh?
Yeah. Do you do you have your head wrapped around what happened with pTGC?
I think I do, but I could be completely wrong. I'm not an expert on the subject, but I'm pretty sure that just the price between PUSDC and pTGC got too far out of peg, and then someone took advantage of that arbitrage and pretty much took the PUSDC over to the pTGC vault and used the PUSDC to print pTGC out of the PMaker vault, and then in turn just sold all that pTGC down for profits because of the arbitrage between them.
Oh, wow.
That's what Maker's designed to do. So this is really no surprise. I'm actually surprised it got that far out of peg before anyone else did it. But I'm pretty sure this happened 6 months ago and people freaked out, and then, they explained to everyone hey, this is technically what it's designed to do. So, yeah.
Well, once again, if you have stables sitting on the sidelines, these kind of opportunities come along. I'd say about every 60 to 90 days, there'll be some kind of event that causes a ripple effect across crypto, and you can scoop up some of your favorite cryptos for cheap.
Yeah, I definitely saw a few people saying that they scooped up a little bit more PDI on the dip. I just think maybe going forward, the big PDI people need to pay attention to the PDI to PUSDC chart and maybe just keep that kind of arbitraged themselves instead of letting it create a huge gap. Because obviously with Pulse Chain, you can swap back and forth for pennies. So the cost of it costing you can really probably make profits pretty easily knowing that they're technically supposed to be one-to-one and there's a whole entire system built to keep them one-to-one. Speaking about the PMaker Vault and how PMaker MakerDAO works.
Sure. And then the UFO volume, it's 6x'd. When I checked it this morning, it was in the 20s, the 20,000s or so. And then right now, the 24-hour volume is 132. So it like more than 6x'd.
Yeah, that's, for these liquidity webs, they need price fluctuation to really kick them into overgear, or they kind of just rely off little things. Because there's little things happening all the time, but when our main tickers really do a volatile shift, that volatility creates, obviously, UFO's price to get out of whack, and then we make money off of it getting put out of whack because then the arbitrage bots come in, fix the price, we collect fees off the arbitrage bots, and that's what functions our whole system. But a lot of people kind of think it's a little bit more simple than that because they're like, oh, we have volume right now, but I'm like, well, if all of the pairs we're connected to are just moving up and down together, the system still generates a little bit of volume, but the thing that really amps up the volume is when one of the pairs, does a volatile shift, which obviously happened today. And yeah, UFO obviously gained a ton of value today. Not technically in price, because the price went down due to the pairing with PDI. But as far as value earned for the holders and the LP providers, and then only on top of that, if you think about it, the buy and burn of UFO, if there's $130,000 of volume, that means $1,300 went to an automatic buy and burn on UFO, and $1,300 went to an automatic buy and burn on pTGC as well.
Right.
Which is cool. It's just, the machine chugging in the direction we know it's chugging with every single transaction.
Yeah. Did you know that we have over $5 million in LP between the two tokens now?
I would think it's more than that, but maybe it's down.
Well, yeah. Do you know what was your last calculation estimate of what we had? I'm just looking at secretobank.com.
Yeah, so Secreto Bank really only brings up the super exotic pairs. So I'd say that's probably correct if you're talking about tokens that have a lot of established liquidity with RH tickers, such as RH tickers itself, PDI, and stuff like that. But it actually doesn't factor in any of the LP that we have with more exotic tokens like the burn token and stuff like that, which personally I don't really like when people include all that liquidity, because if the liquidity only benefits going from burn to pTGC, because pTGC has a ton of liquidity exits, but for a pTGC holder you can't exit into burn because burn only has $40,000 of liquidity with PLS. So the burn holders get to benefit from that huge pairing, but pTGC doesn't benefit as much due to you can't exit out that direction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you have a liquidity pairing with a certain token, and let's say you had millions and millions of dollars, but that token that you're connected to only has $100,000, technically the real liquidity there is only $100,000. You're just heavily bonded with that token.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I guess I agree with that 5 mil if we're talking about like real tokens that have tons of liquidity, like RH tickers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the RH ecosystem to jump back up to stack rate or above stack rate, because that LP is just going to be massive.
Yeah. It'll be $10 million by then. Likely. I mean, between all the pairs.
Yeah. Yeah. A 2x on RH tickers would be a 2x to our liquidity web. So as long as our price stayed relatively equal. Obviously, if our price went up, then we would have more liquidity. If our price went down, we would have less, from people extracting from that pool. But just a simple 2x would give us 2x the liquidity. If RH's ecosystem 10x's, roughly that's 10x the liquidity if there's no price action on the pTGC side, which obviously usually there is. And then if you look at our chart, usually it's to the positive direction. So we should end up higher.
Right.
And just based on the mechanics and the math of the protocol, just keep pushing the price higher.
Sen, make me a co-host so I can help you out, bring people up and stuff.
Looking for it. Hold on. I see it when I bring you up, but I don't see it right now since you're already up.
Well, just click on me, click on my thing, and then it will pop up.
I'm going to have to duck out at about 7 or whenever this guy gets here to help me move a piano. It'll take like maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, I love seeing the volume with pTGC and UFO. Sometimes I like the volume even more than the price, because I know when we have all that volume, just tons of buying that's happening, rewards being paid out to the holder, the machine is actually bringing in that value, right?
Yeah.
So, we prefer it on a positive note, and that volume here, but
You're breaking up you got to rewind.
for retracement, we still get the benefit. Where
I think you were just talking about the volume, how we benefit the volume, and even if the price fluctuates in a negative direction, if there's volume, then it negates a lot of the negative price impact,
Yeah, maybe not like a lot of it, but it's something, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say most tokens out there don't get any positive benefit from price going down. Like every token, or mostly every token, volume doesn't actually bring value to the token. People like to see volume because that means people are interacting with it. But a lot of the times, the only places that make volume from tokens is exchanges, centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, and LP providers. But really, holders don't benefit from this at all. And that's what I really love about, our token structure, is the holders actually get to benefit from the volume and volatility of the ecosystem, not just exchanges. And, this is a lot of value actually comes from holders actually holding up the price. And people don't really realize that. They think a lot of the value comes from other places. But the most important thing is holding the price up. But if you're not incentivized to hold the price up, then what happens? People then sell and take profits. But with our unique system, we actually incentivize people to help hold the price up, the community, by paying them off of the volume, just like exchanges make money off of volume. If you think about, obviously, we're like not big at all compared to the size of a centralized exchange, but that they're making tons and tons of money off of the volume of the exchange. Like, that's literally their main form of income, is the volume.
Right.
but the holders in that ecosystem, they don't get anything. Even with Bitcoin, if you think about Bitcoin, there's tons and tons of volume that happens on Bitcoin every day, but the market makers, the LP providers, the exchanges are the ones who make all that money. The holders of Bitcoin themselves actually don't make any money off of this. They only make money off of price appreciation.
Right. And I need to like constantly remind myself that, you know, when we have a big price fluctuation, well, to the negative, to the downside, like we did today, and it wasn't enormous by any means, but then instead we had volume, which was wonderful. So the volume brings more tokens, and then the increase in price increases the value of those tokens. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a it's like a teeter-totter almost. Like suddenly you get a bunch of tokens, and then that volume might go down, and then the price comes up, and the value of those tokens has increased. It's actually quite a beautiful system.
Well, like this is the thing too. At the end of the day, so looking at like the other unique liquidity pools that we're connected to. So like Atroba went down 9%. Teddy Bear went down 3%. PDI went down 8%. Even PulseX and Hex liquidity pairs went down. PulseX went down 16% today, then Hex went down 12%. So essentially, it's not really holders selling, or of course, there's going to be individuals that do their own thing. But like the thing about pTGC, we are one with the market, and we are the things that we're tied to in correlation with the LPs are essentially what is the upper arm. And when people like see like downturns and stuff like that, just think about this. If pTGC at this, so we wouldn't be burning the same amount of pTGC out of the ecosystem at a $50 million market cap comparable to a $40 million market cap. So the same kind of concepts, like when we hit an all-time high back in March 8th, but during that duration of time when we went all the way down to, I think the lowest point was like $5.7 million market cap. But at those levels, those buy and burns, and especially the Dow adding those liquidities to PulseX and to Hex and to Inc. kind of like shows of like what we were doing for the last, I don't know, 6-7 months during the downtime of like the completion of like what's going on in the market.
I asked a question in the chat this morning. Maybe you guys can answer. Like, Coach, maybe you can answer this one. How can you tell? Like, I'm looking right now at pTGC on the weekly. How can you tell when a candle has closed? Because each one of these candles represents a week. But I don't know if this is the beginning of the week.
Usually it's the candles close. I think it's CST time, and I think it's Sunday or Monday mornings that a new candle starts.
Okay, so I guess there's no way to tell on Dex Screener or Dex Tools whether a candle is closed or not.
When the candle closes, it moves to the next candle.
Right. Right. I get that.
Where you can change the time zone and closes it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. That, of course. So when this candle is closed, it's going to move out onto the next one. Duh. Yeah. Laugh at self out loud. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going back to what we're talking about, was it's nice to know, even if it's a movement in the negative direction, and just like Coach said, that movement to a negative direction isn't always due to a price sell on our chart. That could be just due to some of our liquidity pairings, obviously the pairing with PDI today. But where it benefited our ecosystem is, Banana as a holder now has more tokens in its.
Can you guys hear me?
I hear you.
And I can hear you.
Okay.
Do you hear me?
Zen, stop driving where I think you're driving.
Well, I can hear Zen.
Not everybody can hear him fine, Coach.
Oh,
He's loud and clear.
or I'm just wrecked. Okay.
Yeah, come out and come back in.
So what I was saying is the cool thing about this is, obviously there was a little bit downturn on the market today. It happened from PDI, which we're connected to. So it wasn't any negative real sell pressure on our chart, but just due to something that we were connected to. But it did create a lot of volume on our ecosystem. And like for Prairie, for an example, you now have more pTGC tokens in your wallet than you woke up this morning with, and there's less circulating supply. So you're constantly ending up with more of the supply while the supply is constantly decreasing. And over the long term, the only thing that can really do is force the price upwards, which is also good for your bags. It's what you want, right?
Yeah.
So, it's not always going to be a positive movement that we get this volume and volatility on. Obviously, we prefer it, but it's nice to know even in the negative direction, there is a silver lining to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's 5 p.m. EST is when the candles close. Just so you know.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Mando. Do you know what day the weekly candle closes?
I'd have to go and look on my computer at the moment. I'm not there, but I just wanted to say one thing. I look at it in terms of time frames, the trend, and the basket, right? So you have to know what basket of cryptos the web is sitting in. And the mechanics, when I'm sitting here watching it, it's so clear. I go into the chat and I hit Zen up, and immediately I'm like, oh man, look at this volume that's coming in. And you can see all these buys coming in, But the trend of pTGC from beginning on the monthly is astronomical. There's nothing like it. Like it's so monolithically phenomenal that just as a TA guy, just as someone who just does crypto, I mean, there's nobody that can deny it, So the system obviously is massively, tremendously benefiting from volatility, from the one thing that is always on the blockchain. And when you see that and you've got the holders that they're not selling, it's like, wow. Because when you got it up there at that market cap on Pulse Chain, guys, and you guys know this, even Sami was like, that's rare.
Yeah.
Even Sami was like, that's rare. Yeah, that PDI stuff is hilarious, though. I'm really glad that we're connected to it speculative wise, because the narrative's super strong. But even if PDI literally died, it doesn't matter. The system just keeps going. So I feel like there was some people making some comments, Prairie, about, is it connected to PDI kind of a thing, or is it connected to something that's going down? But, don't have to matter.
But Mando, like at the end of the day, like you understand what was going on, right?
Yeah, of course I do. Absolutely.
With the ratios.
With what ratios?
With the PUSDC or PUSDC and PDI.
Oh yeah,
ratio.
They're rebalancing them. They're trying to get them to equilibrium. But my thing is instantly on crypto Twitter, Coach, you know, it's dropping stuff in people's TGs and this and that. And then you have your guys that come out and do their thing, and it causes people to literally sell. It's just so crazy to me. How many times have we been through this with Pete Iron Bar, man? 20 times, bro.
Like, I literally, like, I was in the middle of my, like, VCs that I do in every Monday mornings, my group, but I got a call and I was just like, what's going on? And then basically it's just, this is the thing about what's happened to PDI. It's the maker vaults, or the maker contract is working and operating 100% what it's meant to do. And actually, for anybody to see what the only chart that I'm looking at and I care about is the chart at the top, because you can see kind of like the ratio between the PUSDC and the PDI comparison. And it was at 50% at the beginning of the day, and it's always been going on a downturn. But if you actually look back at it between, I want to say, September to about January, where more people started speculating on PDI, which changed the ratio between the two. But that's basically what is possibly going to be happening in the future. Of course, speculating.
The dolphin position just got burned. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, did that get announced? It got announced on X.
About the dolphin position?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, 100 million Pulse just bought up pTGC and burned all of it. Just over a dolphin.
Nice.
That's a lot of coins.
That's a good number of coins. I mean, that's a respect in my book. A dolphin is a respectable position, and if you can nuke a dolphin position, you know, with 1 week's worth of, was that a week's worth of pulse that was earned?
Day. That was 1 day.
Oh, wow.
We could literally be burning up dolphin positions like crazy, man. And if the volume gets to where we think Pulse Chain can get, you know, whatever it is, I mean, think about that. Just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just go to sleep at night, relax.
Yep. No one. That's one of the beauties of the machine, is it just works day and night. While we sleep, those tokens are being bought, burnt, dripped into our wallets while we sleep, while we go to work, while we clean the garage. You know, day in, day out, and it will never stop. It will never stop.
I'm like, oh, a dolphin just got burnt out of existence. That's 1 day's worth.
Does that make the dolphin positions smaller? Like, not as many dolphins? Is that how it goes?
Well, it's a deflationary token, right? So when you're burning basically 30 million tokens a pop out of existence and no more can be made, it's making it harder to get dolphin positions for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad I got mine.
You're constantly raising the token USD value price floor every time you do that very quickly.
Yeah, I didn't understand what you said as you kept talking though. I figured it out, but yeah, that is pretty sweet, man. That thing's a beast, man. Whether it goes up or down, and then I just, you know, I'm a dolphin in UFO too, so I got some sitting just making my 1%, And then I got the rest of it sitting with pDot. And that thing was just, I mean, it was nuts. I was like, what's going on with pDot? I was trying to figure out what was going on. And then I started reading in the chat and everybody started talking about it, which is cool, man. I mean, that chat is constant 24/7. That thing doesn't sleep like the buying bird.
Yeah, there's a core good group of people from all over the place. It's awesome.
One dolphin position right now, based on the current supply of 296 billion tokens, is worth $4,000.
Yep.
Yeah, it was up to 43.
Yep. So as soon as it dipped, I was like, that's perfect, because now you get to buy a bunch more for less.
Yep. And people, everybody else is thinking the same thing, because I know what's happening. I don't even have to look at the chart. I just go to the chat. And if I see a bunch of buy bot, whatever those things are, the buy bot notifications, I know what happened. The price took a dip and everybody's buying it back up. Somebody sold a big bag and everybody's waiting on the sidelines to fill their buy orders or whatever, to add to their bag.
Can someone explain to me what you guys were talking about with the PUSDC and the pDI? I sort of get it, but I'm trying to figure it out by myself, just reading things, but I'm not always the best at that,
So Maker
taking it all in.
MakerDAO on Ethereum, along with that whole system, got copied over. And wow, there's tons of feedback. What the hell? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I
Nando.
hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Old BD. Yeah, just try to stay on mute while he's talking. I think it's bouncing back with you.
Yeah, there's just some things going on in a protocol that got forked over called Maker. And there's no point in going into all the details of it, but they're moving money around to rebalance USDC and pDI and doing other things. And so you have some collateralization going on in some vaults, and then you have some pDI that starts to be minted, but it's not minted out of thin air. It's doing certain things for certain reasons, right? And you just have people on Twitter that just insta-post shit. And to be honest with you, you have a lot of people that just don't like it because they didn't get in it early enough. And they just want to fade it. I see that a lot too. Yeah, but everything's fine in terms of that. And the fact that we're tied to pDI, it makes people kind of freak out if they don't understand what's going on. So they'll sell, For us, we capitalize on that volatility, so that's good. But yeah, people need to stop worrying about that whole scenario, though. In my opinion, it's like so washed up 45,000 times. Everybody knows what PI is. Pure speculation. That's it. Everybody knows what it is, So.
Well, you got the haters that are so hating on it. Oh, it's never going to peg. I'm like, I don't care if it pegs. As long as it gets there to $1. I don't care if it gets to 75 cents. You know what I mean?
Well, it would be nice if it did, because our bags would blow up, but...
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying, it's like, God, it's such a hasty comment in there, man. People get so pissed. I'm like, what does it matter? I'm like, it's our ecosystem. Why are you so pissed? I mean, are we supposed to be going up as a layer one? Like, don't you want eyes on our chain? I don't know. I just don't get it, man. Don't go out there hating on everything all the time. But you called it. People try to FUD it and get pissed because they didn't get in it. So
I thought that. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to chime in and just say the people that are FUDding it and all that kind of stuff has not done the same kind of numbers of hours of research than myself probably done in their whole crypto lives. So with that statement being in mind, when people start fudding, it's like, oh, I thought this was going to peg to $1. They just don't really know they don't know what crypto is. B, they don't understand Maker. Or C, they don't really truly believe in Richard Hart. So I'll just leave it at that.
You got anything? Hey,
man.
You got anything, Zen?
Yeah. I have something I'm trying to remember because I was going to chime into the topic before too, but you guys are just rolling. But on this topic, really the getting to $1 is not that hard because of the X multiplier theory. So, I don't know how many X's we are away, but let's say it's 200X we're away right now. I think it's a little more than that. But all we need is a 20X on Pulse Chain and a 10X on pDAI versus Pulse Chain. That's a 200X right there. With just a little bit of success of the Pulse Chain blockchain, it actually is very easy for pDAI to get to $1. And that's why I say it's actually very easy for pTGC to get ridiculous X's as well, because they both get to capitalize on the multiplying X theory. Really, any protocol that has product market fit and longevity built into it gets to capitalize on this. The problem is 99% of projects don't have longevity or sustainability, so they never get to actually reap the rewards of the X multiplier theory. So getting to $1, I don't see this being an issue at all with the success of Pulse Chain. Is it going to peg when it gets there? That's obviously the speculation that everyone's kind of trying to figure out on the blockchain. But old BD or DB, you're just kind of saying like, really, I don't care if it stops at $1 and gets pegged there, or if it keeps going, or if it falls. You're just happy to, make the X's. I feel like that's most people too. But it would be cool if he did stabilize it at $1. Like I said, I'm not really an expert as far as I've never dug down that rabbit hole, but I do understand the multiplying X in theory. And I do believe if Pulse Chain does any X's that are somewhat relevant, like a 20X, all pDAI needs to do is a 10X on top of that, which in crypto is not hard. So,
well, this is what we'll just end this conversation and move on, because I'm about to squash everybody's, all the haters. Go look at testnet and tell me if PUSDC, PUSDT, and pDAI is at $1.
You tell us, Coach, because obviously, is it at $1?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
We don't need to look it up. We got Coach. Coach, it's at $1, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I was going to bring up is, I don't know what the volume is right now, and I didn't look this up, but someone in our chat said that pDAI was at $2.5 million of daily volume. And I brought up, because I do believe pTGC with, the community being strong and Pulse Chain being successful and pTGC being successful, one day we will be able to get to those volume amounts on pTGC. And then I was bringing up the fact that when or if we get to these numbers of volume, 2.5 mil, we would be bringing in $125,000 via our fee structure going to the underlying value of the protocol on a daily basis. With buybacks and burns, DAO, which is pretty much buybacks and burns and LP ads, automatic LP ads, and then I believe it's $40,000 of that would be going to reflections and rewards back to the holders. When that's happening on a daily basis, just from $2.5 million of volume, in the grand scheme of things, that's still quite small. It's large for Pulse Chain at the moment, but comparatively to other stuff, it's not that much. I think it's a very reasonable milestone for our ecosystem in the near future. I plan on this being around as long as Pulse Chain. The code's the code. The burns LP's the burns LP. I don't see a reason why it couldn't. I'm very excited for those times, because that's a lot of buy and burns happening on the chart. $40,000 spread out in rewards and reflections amongst the community on a daily basis is a good amount of passive income for people. And that's only at 2.5 mil. Imagine if it goes more than that. And then obviously the automatic LP ads that come out of that, the DAO would be doing automatic LP ads, buy and burns, etc. It would become a crazy awesome machine at that point.
And we can build cool stuff with it. I'm just playing.
I mean, if you look at it now, right? Just right now, I think that even just looking at being able to burn dolphin positions daily at these levels, I think with the volatility today, like almost 200 million came in or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's. Can you confirm that? Like, what was it?
So today on pTGC is 164,000 volume.
Yeah, so if there's $164,000 in volume on pTGC today, you would take 2% of that, which I can type it in on my phone. $3,360.
Yeah, it was because I saw another one go through, and then it was already at 69 million. So
yeah, well, so that
was well over 100 million.
Yeah, well, the Dow generated technically $3,350 in PLS today.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean. Like when you can just enjoy that kind of revenue at these levels, the thing just keeps hitting a tipping point. That's just how the machine works. It hits tipping points where it just can't take it anymore, just mathematically, and it just has to just move. Especially with diamond handlers that well, obviously people sell this shit too, but pretty good diamond handlers, it just. Well, I want pTGC to hit $100 million market cap on Pulse Chain, like as soon as possible. That's when people are going to be breaking their necks,
I
man.
think everybody in here wants that. 100.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that far away. I don't think that's just my personal opinion. Just if Pulse Chain keeps that energy that we're starting to feel underneath of the system, there's nothing that stops it. Like, what stops it? You tell me.
Yeah, well, 100 million market cap is actually really easy. If we just keep our same ratio with PLS, and PLS goes back to stack rate, we pretty much are at 100 million market cap.
No, we will be at 100 million.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason it doesn't happen is if like we have a black swan, the internet shuts off or something, or Pulse Chain shut down. Black swan event. Or we just have somebody just go blah in the chart and just pay everybody rewards. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't even think that would set it back too far at this point. Obviously, that's always in the cards if someone does decide to take a huge amount of profits. But I do believe that there's people who see value in the protocol who want bigger bags that would probably find a way to scoop up some of that dip. And the machine also would, do its part to help absorb some of that hit. And that's what really I feel confident about with this machine is it's a token that kind of has what would the word be, like a leg up on all its competitors because of all the things that are happening on the back end with the buy and burns, the
the web that when there is a big sell, automatically the bots come in and then push it back up, correcting the chart. There's just so many layers. Like those are just 2 examples. It's like 20 of the things that are like working in the favor of the community to keep this thing chugging along. And it's just code. You know what I mean? That's what's beautiful about it, is what it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be reliant on individuals for anything. It should just be the code doing what code does, and that Burnt LP doing what the Burnt LP does.
Well, like we can take a look back at just like the blockchain. Like I think Mando, wasn't it around 8 to 9 mil? Somebody took, I don't know, about 30, 40,000, and probably like less than a day or 2. And then the other day, like somebody dumped like 70K as well. And then essentially that candle or like that downside was just like very minimal. So it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a beast. Look, the thing at the way it's currently running, the thing is able to absolutely make people who own the coins monetize them and be able to sell out however they want. And it's a beast already, right? So, like, we don't have like a lot of dum-dums that don't know at this point. Most people are vets up in here, I'd imagine, right? So I'm excited about literally Pulse Chain. Like, I want Richard Hart's thing to go now. Like, I want Pulse Chain to freaking wake up and the entire community to just be blessed and just wow. Because when Pulse Chain wakes up, holy moly, we haven't even seen what pTGC can do.
Well,
that's my personal opinion.
Well, we've
not even its first beer yet, bro.
I know, but we've kind of seen like what happens when Pulse Chain starts to wake up, and PulseX and Inc. and PHEX and EX. But at the end of the day, like, we've captured so much more like liquidity to those tickers in the last 6 months that it's that much stronger in this next market cycle, which is perfect. And like when people like the term Hart's Law, and I'm a very, 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 very big advocate of this. That's the only thing I try to preach. It's just like, it's going to leave the station with you or without you. You're going to be a part of it or not be a part of it. You're going to better yourself and better the surrounding individuals in the community. It's literally, this is what I think in regards to pTGC and what has been built is like, it's changing the game of crypto. It's literally like, if you really think about it, it's kind of like just waking up. You have the blue pill or the red pill coming into the table, and understanding the powers of B in consideration with the RH tickers. Like what like Richard Hart is a billionaire that likes buying his own tokens. And he's, at the end of the day, he's here for glory. Mando knows this. Zen knows this. Banana knows this. Let's see, who else? Gugat knows this. Love knows this. Tick knows this. Stylist knows this. Etsy knows this. So every single, I would try to name every single individual, but you just have to look at the blockchain history. Look at what happened between January 8th and March 8th. And those are the type of numbers, and Pulse Chain hasn't even started running yet. Pulse Chain is on first gear.
No, it's crazy because when the L1 just ebbs and flows in those big like 15% ranges like that, or 10% ranges when it goes, it's like a big current underneath of pTGC because we're on top of it, right? But like, you're monetizing that whole current, and you can see how the system reacts to it every time. But you can also see on the trend line of the chart that the price over time frames, the trend is astronomical. And you can see that on the weekly and monthly chart. And I just honestly, guys, don't know what the hell's going to stop it.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see this machine running when pTGC or when PLS and HEX and PLSX are sitting at the numbers that personally I believe they should be valued at, because I personally believe they're completely undervalued right now. And the facts are, we are tied to stuff that's undervalued. Is that hurting the pTGC price at all? 100%. But you know what that is that creates opportunity for people to buy pTGC at these lower prices like they are today. Because think about it. If PLS wasn't at this price, let's say it was back up at the 3 zeros in the 2 price, I think it is, or whatever, let's say 5x from here. Well, naturally, pTGC's price would be 5 times the amount of money. So that dolphin position we were just talking about would cost $20,000. Not 4. So the dip of Pulse Chain actually is giving not only people an opportunity to grow their bags of RH tickers, but also the, in my opinion, blue chip tokens that have decided to build here on Pulse Chain, and I'm going to throw pTGC and UFO in that category, they're also putting these tokens on discount too. But once the discount's gone, it's gone. It's that dolphin position is going to cost $20K now or more, because we've already seen what happens, or less, I guess, but we've seen what happens when PLS ran up 4x last time. We ran up 40x. I don't see a reason why this isn't possible again, because the machine hasn't changed. If anything, it's gotten stronger because the tokens have been distributed more and our LPs have been grown in the meantime.
Well, this is something that I said this morning on stream, and I really feel a very big conviction on this. I said, of course, it's not financial advice, blah, 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 but you have a week or two to figure out what your 6 months to a year conviction plays are in crypto, period. Because literally the money printer has started printing money. And the smart money is going to go into stocks and assets or cryptos to kind of like fight off the inflation. So with that being said, like literally, like I'm giving everybody fair warning, like a week or two of what you believe in, and then it's going to be like, see you later.
Yeah, so like what Hayden's saying, a 4 or 5x from here, right? It's at a 40, 45, $50 million market cap now. 4 or 5x from here, you're talking in the hundreds of millions. And it's just RH's ecosystem starting to wake up. So, like, it does represent, as crazy as it is for the people who've been here as long as they have, who've done so well already, like, I feel like Hayden is telling the truth. Like, it's a fact that it's way undervalued. It's way undervalued.
Zen. Don't say that name. Zen.
Coach, did you know Amanda was talking?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I just don't want to.
Yeah, it's public and out in the open. But anyway, I agree, Coach. I agree with you 100%. It's an exciting thing to see kind of where we're at right now with Pulse Chain and being with pTGC and Zen. Kind of getting blown away at this point, dude. And that don't happen too often.
I think people are starting to understand what they're holding in these tokens, and they're not willing to let them go as easily anymore. And that's one of the reasons we're seeing this run up, 13 some odd weeks of, green candles. I think just because part of the education, and it takes some people some time to wrap their head around, this unique ecosystem. And once you start to understand it, then those tokens become more precious to you. I know that they have become more precious to me in the last few months. And I'll tell you what, I won't be letting go of my tokens very easily. Yield is one thing, but my principle is going to be up to a fight.
Yeah, I think also part of it is trust, right? You shouldn't be given trust, you earn trust.
Yep.
And I think our code, because it's all about our code, but even in crypto, like you can't trust all codes right off the bat. They have to earn the trust. And I think the fact that our protocol has been operating flawlessly for 11 months now is it's starting to earn the trust
Yes.
of the Pulse Chain community just by its buy-in burdens in the contract. The community, for one, is earning people's trust because the community is, for one, working really hard on educating, and then for two, with the DAO, they're being very, very benevolent. They're doing buy-in burns, LP ads. The smart contracts are functioning as they should. I think that everything is just starting to align, and the trust is gaining, which is good because, like I said, you should never just give someone trust. Let them earn it.
Yep.
And I think pTGC as a piece of code with tons of burnt liquidity and a strong community that's growing is earning the trust of the rest of crypto. We not even just Pulse Chain, because really I'm not really in it for just Pulse Chain. We want to be bringing people to Pulse Chain. So if we can earn the trust of just crypto as a whole, I think that's a huge step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And you could also substitute the word trust for credibility. And trust, we're earning trust and credibility every day. Every day that goes on, we have more credibility. Every day that, that we're on Twitter and people see references to pTGC, we are gaining credibility. There have been tokens in the past few months that have launched by reputable developers. I mean, people in the Richard Hart ecosystem, and that we all know. And I look at their volume, and there's like nothing going on, and I don't see any reference to their tokens anywhere on Twitter. I might there must be something, and but I just don't see it. And I think that, like you said, the code is being proven one day at a time. And with the code having been on the chain for almost a year now, that speaks a lot. And I think we need to take advantage of that too. Once we hit that 1 year mark, we're planning to celebrate it and let everybody know, hey, we've been here for a year. It's probably time you check out pTGC. Because
and even not even just the code, the whole idea of pTGC and its structure, I've yet to have someone tell me this has ever been done on another blockchain. I've never seen it been done. And I've kind of said hey, I think we're the first ones to do it. We, made this idea up, and we were kind of the testing grounds for what I believe is a really revolutionary idea of how fee tokens can be structured to continuously grow and add value back to the system. But we were kind of the first mover advantage on this idea, and we were moving through uncharted territories. And when you're moving through uncharted territories, let's say going to seas that have never been sailed before, there's not a bunch of people putting their hand up saying hey, I'm willing to hop on that ship.
Yes.
But there were people who were, and obviously those people are, sitting in this room, and, I'm very appreciative of being part of this community since so early, and believing in this system because, this was a system that mathematically I didn't see not working, but you never know. And, I kind of put myself out there and I said, hey, mathematically, I don't see why this doesn't work. Let's go on this journey together. And I think we're earning that trust or, credibility, whatever word, but the system has actually proven itself to work every day. Like today as being a great example. One of our liquidity pairings took a decent hit, but guess what? Our machine got stronger from that hit. Our burnt LP got bigger. Our burnt supply got bigger. The tokens in the holder's hands got larger. And that was reliant on no human interaction. That's reliant on the market doing exactly what the market does every day. The only guarantee that we have here in crypto, the market going up and down. Obviously, we prefer it going up, but it's nice to know when it's going down, we actually have a net positive coming out of it. Or not a positive, but there's a silver lining to a negative.
Right. Right.
Well, talking about 1 year anniversaries, October 11th, I am planning on doing something in the worst state of the United States, which is California. Mando, you're gonna love it here. I'm just playing. But I'm trying to do some kind of get together in regards to pTGC in SoCal, more towards the realm of like San Diego. So I'm gonna let people know a little bit more about it as I get all the information and everything.
Well, I'll hold one then in like Santa Barbara, like 5 hours north of you. I'm just playing with you, Coach.
hey, honestly, San Diego is so much better than Santa Barbara.
Man, oh God.
Trust me. It's a lot nicer. I don't know. It's my little like personal bias.
Yeah, that's where Oprah Winfrey lives, bro, in straight Montecito, man. Okay.
Like, yeah, exactly. Do we want to be hanging out with freaking Oprah and like P. Diddy and stuff like that? I don't think so.
No, and neither did Ice Cube, thank God.
But yeah, so I just talked to a place to have this, like, I don't know, get together. I'm just trying to pile on a little bit more information in terms of some other stuff. But I'm going to let people know real shortly soon.
Yeah, I will possibly be in the state November 20th on. I wouldn't be there before that, though.
Zen, can you describe for us what it means by when the bots are moving more money around and what it means for the holders of pTGC and then the yield that they'll be receiving?
Yeah. So I was kind of just talking about this, and it doesn't matter if it's a bot or a human, but obviously our web structure creates the bot activities. But if we can increase bot activity, if that's by our LP pools being larger, because the larger our LP pools are, the more money a bot will have to move to fix that LP pool. For an example, today our PDI pairs are quite large. So the amount of money that needed to be moved in and out of those pairs to fix them was a decent amount. And that's why we got so much volume from this action today. Again, obviously we prefer it in a positive direction, so price goes up and we get volume, but that's not always the case. But at least we get the volume and the value from that. The more liquidity we have, and this is actually really unique to our protocol and not really the same with other protocols, because with other protocols, when you have tons of liquidity, you get the benefit of, that lets bigger buyers in and bigger buyers out. but then it also is harder to pump. So you have, you kind of want to not have too much, but then have enough for big players that come in and out. RH talks about this all the time. But our unique system, it actually makes money off of the liquidity pools as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, because now the R bots have to move the money throughout these large pools to fix the price. The more money we can get our bots to move and fix the price is the less value that we need to actually bring in from human interaction to keep pushing our price up. And then that's that's less money that humans need to bring in to pay rewards and etc. So our whole system now becomes less dependent on human interaction and more dependent on just the one thing that's actually guaranteed, which is the markets moving up and down. Personally, I like to go in the direction of being dependent on mechanical things instead of human emotion things, because then we can actually calculate our growth, and we know that the market's going to react and act in a certain way. It's always going to go up and down, and we know that's going to bring value in, but you don't always know human reactions. You can want them to come into the protocol, but you don't know if that's always going to take place. But the unique thing about this is, since we bring in the mechanical function that makes this value off of the LP pools getting moved by R bots, that actually brings the human interaction in, because now it's incentivizing them to come into this unique protocol. So then you end up getting both, right? The more volume we can get daily, the more APY we're going to get in rewards, the more buy and burns will happen to our supply, the more LP will keep compounding. So it's pretty much just all net positives as we can keep increasing this volume, especially if we can increase the volume and keep pushing price up. That's the best of both worlds.
Okay, is it because that there's like when the bots are moving more money around, does that lead to more yield because of the difference in the price? Because at lower prices there might be 10 cents difference in price, where at a 10x that same difference would be $1. So the yield is based on $1 versus 10 cents. Is that how it's?
So the volume is calculated in dollar terms already. So like when you look on Pulse or Dex tools or Dex Screener, when you look at volume, the currency they're tracking volume in is dollars already.
Yep.
And since all of our rewards are paid out based on volume and reflections and rewards pretty much, you don't need to look at it as far as quantity of tokens. If you're looking at it as a day-to-day piece, you can just look at the volume of that day and know that's the amount I received in dollars, right? You can do the calculation and turn that back to how much pTGC that is. But that's why we want more dollar value to be moved back and forth, because that's going to tell you how much technically dollar value APY you're making. But 100%, if you're not cashing out your reflections and rewards, you can be taking in that pTGC, and let's say pTGC does a 10x from today to, let's say, 3 months from now. Well, then all of that pTGC that you earned in, let's say, a dollar value today, let's say it was worth $10 today. You earn $10 of pTGC. But two months goes down the road and pTGC is 10x. Well, technically, all that pTGC that you earned today for $10 is now worth $100.
Right.
And then let's say that same amount of volume is, down the road, but that would still be $10. 2 months from now, let's say you do the same amount of volume, you would then be getting $10 worth still. So it would be 1/10 of the amount of tokens. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's all based on the dollar value in conjunction with how many tokens are worth that price. It works the opposite direction too. So if you're earning rewards today and then 2 months from now price it's down, you're going to be earning more tokens 2 months from now for that same dollar amount. As long as the price goes back up, that dip might have been kind of nice, because if the volume was still there,
Yeah.
you were just earning more tokens, and then you just moved right back up to where the tokens should be valued at. All you did was pretty much just earn a better quantity of tokens for a short period of time.
Yes. And you said something in the chat earlier today that really rang a bell with me. I know I've thought of it before, but I must have forgotten. But it's so simple. If you wanted to figure out how much your pTGC earned in the previous 24 hours, you go to secretobank.com, you look at the total volume, and you multiply that number by the percent of the supply that you hold. So the volume today was $137,714. Let's say a guy has 5 dolphin positions times 0.005. Let's see if you want to, yeah. That can't be right. $68.
Yeah, I think that's 5 sharks that you just did.
Yeah. Yeah. $68. That'd be a shark, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but for the audience, I mean, you get the idea. You can look at the total volume. You can figure out what you earned in a day by knowing the total volume and
that
your
would be
percentage.
pretty close, right? Because there's a couple other features in that you have to kind of take into consideration. For one, the tokens that are in the dead address are not getting rewards or reflections. So
Right.
automatically, that's 11% that you don't have to share with, which is nice. That's less people that you have to share with. So if you're calculating your percentage, make sure you're calculating it out of the circulating supply,
Yes.
not the total supply.
Okay.
That's one thing, which I think the league's calculator has it pretty up to date. So you're probably good if you're following that. The next thing to take into consideration is not everyone is staked. So you're actually going to be earning a little bit more than that, because with the reflections you share with everyone, but with the staking you don't share with everyone. So you'll earn a bigger supply out of that pool as well. So you'll actually be on a higher end with the staking rewards because you share with less people. And then the other thing is, Secreto Bank, a lot of these things, they're actually not pooling all of the rewards because it's not populating the exotic pairs. So there's a little bit of volume also in exotic pairs that's not populating on there as well. So pretty much where I'm getting at is the calculation you just did will give you a lower end number than it actually is. All the things
Okay.
I just brought up would push your number higher as far as what you earned in a day.
Yep.
But that's a good rough estimation. If you want to get like a close estimation of what you're getting, that's a quick way to do it.
Cool. Yeah. And then, so on Saturday, when we streamed on Saturday, I told you guys that my 1 million pTGC stake broke even on the 1% penalty for ending the stake. I told you guys it took 240 days. That was not correct. I had figured out, I had forgotten that I had compounded some of the yield from that for the first 3 to 4 months. And there's another factor in there that I had overlooked that I don't recall at the moment, but I refigured it this morning. And if I take the most recent couple of months, because I've only been keeping records for about 3 months, but some of those I wasn't tracking data that I needed to figure this out. But basically the bottom line is it would take going backwards from today, it would take 50. I made my 1% back in 54 days. It took 54 days. But that was also during this period of higher volume. So during the periods of lower volume, you're not going to make your 1% back as quickly, but you will during the periods of higher volume. And it took me about, well, if I had done the stake 54 days ago, I would have gotten it back by now, would have earned all my penalty, and I'd be in pure profit starting tomorrow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts in that calculation, because you also have to think about that the staking fee doesn't care about price, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
It's just taking 1% of your supply. So if pTGC is chugging up in price, that's going to make it harder for you to get back that 1%, because the higher pTGC chugs up in price, you're getting more dollar value, technically, or it's all based on volume, but you're going to be getting less token quantities. So there's just so many moving parts to factor in that if pTGCs, let's say, stay stagnant as far as price, but the volume stays the same, you'll get that 1% quicker because it's based on token quantity. Or even if pTGC went down in price and volume stayed the same, then you'll really get that 1% quicker.
Right.
But if pTGC keeps chugging up in price, obviously that 1% becomes more valuable and more valuable, which then makes it harder to ROI. So there's just tons of moving parts that it's this whole everyone always comes in and says, what's the APY? How long is this? And I'm just like, dude, every day is different. It's like,
very different.
Yeah.
I didn't factor price into my 1% at all. It's purely based on the tokens.
Yeah. So, and if you think about it, in the last 50 days, we've been chugging up in price, probably 5x?
Yes.
So that obviously made it a lot harder to hit that 1% because that 1% became 5 times harder to reach. So it's a lot with timing too. You know what I mean? You could just, if you had a short-term mindset, and the price just kept running up, it's obviously going to be harder to get that price back or that quantity of tokens back if the volume isn't increasing with it. If the volume increases with it, like obviously it did, volumes increased recently to decent numbers, it might even itself out, but it doesn't always even out. Sometimes it fluctuates hard one way, sometimes it fluctuates hard the other way, and that's why it's so hard to give anyone any estimations on this stuff. It's literally a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, it varies a lot.
Yeah.
Guy on YouTube says, when your mindset is to hold for years, these 1% thoughts are laughable. And yeah, that's true. We always speculate that when price goes up, people will be unlocking their tokens and willingly, gladly paying the 30% penalty just because they're going to be in such profit. We speculate and guess that that's going to happen. And I think
I think people are getting a little better about it, is what I'm noticing. Is I think people are starting to do ladders and really think about it, but definitely the first run-ups, there was people ending those like it was going out of style.
Oh yeah, big time. I remember. Yeah, the unlocks have slowed down quite a bit. But when people do unlock in the future and those tokens are worth more, it'll be more meaningful for.
It goes back to quantities, right? So it might be a less quantity because maybe this person's a smaller bag holder, right? Because as pTGC keeps going up in price, there will be new communities members that come in, and let's say they even come in with $20,000, and this is 10x down the road. Well, that $20,000 isn't going to get them the same position that $20,000 gets you today. And then let's say that they make the decision to lock and then they don't fulfill it. Obviously that quantity of tokens might not be like the shiniest object to you, Banana, who's been in here since the price was 50x smaller ago. You remember the quantities you used to receive, but but at the current price, it's actually a decent amount. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I always look back is how valuable these early days, like I still consider this early in pTGC. I know we're excited about the 1 year, but this machine was designed to be here as long as Pulse Chain is here. It's designed to be here that long. The codes are announced and the liquidity's burnt. Like as long as Pulse Chain's functioning, this thing's functioning. But the rewards we're getting right now, they're juicy as far as quantities go. When you think about 4 years down the road, the amount of quantities we're maybe going to be receiving. Like the quantities could be tiny compared to today.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Bitcoin. It's just like Hex with deflationary T-shares. It's the whole 9 yards, except for it's deflationary. That's the power of it to me, man. What you did there. You're not getting any more of it. And the price floor is forced mathematically up on a trend line over time frames. Doesn't mean you can't have massive swings, but the trend over time frames mathematically is forced up as long as there's activity on the network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Scarcity brings value, right? If there's too much of something.
Exactly.
Well, talking about scarcity, can we talk about some of my other children, or no? Should we not go that route?
Do you have anything
Straighten
specific?
the volume on your little children, man. They're all just sitting there.
Little children.
What are they called? Susie, Sally, Sue? What?
No, Burn, Liquid, Energy, 808. Those children.
What do you got, man?
Well, in terms of, so I kind of talked about this on my stream, but Burn's liquidity with pTGC is the third largest out of the whole ecosystem, right under UFO. And in terms of like what it actually does, since Zen and myself like created those tokens, talking about the percentage of like buys and burns that actually comes into buy and burn itself, and then the liquidity is about $820,000 collectively with pTGC. And internally, like, how does that, like, let me ask you, Mando, what do you think that brings to the table of buy and burns? I think it's 24.7% bought and burned off the table. Like,
So for me,
what's that number?
I like to focus on pTGC. For me, burn, the way I break burn down with what's going on with liquidity now, I think the liquidity is great on that pairing. I don't like it because I don't think that humans want to take 10% hits going in and out of that pair. And I know that it's harder to create revenue with a pair that commands 10%, on a premium on top of what the arbitrageurs are actually trying to make. So you're going to have a lot less volume, and you do have a lot less volume, right? So that's why for me, everything has been an experiment so far as to what's been put out there in the liquidity web. Everything helps it, but the only way that burn goes is if someone tries to actually have a bunch of market buys on it. Like you're actually physically trying to just have other people divert energy into that, because the R bots aren't going to do anything, spectacular in my opinion. I'd like Zen if I'm wrong on that, but I think that over time, as it gets dragged up in value, right? That's the question in terms of how much volume that would bring as pTGC goes up.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. But thinking about it in a long-term perspective, like right now it's at almost 25% bought and burns. So effectively, what do you think that would eternally do to the ecosystem of Pulse Chain, or not Pulse Chain, but like pTGC with that liquidity measure in play?
It's all about volume. So as long as I'm seeing burn have zero volume, there's barely anything happening there except for some small burns when there's an ARB that can happen.
But Mando, burn went up about 400% in the last month.
I understand that. I understand that. But it went up because pTGC's gone up, not because there's been market buys or volume on the token. So burn was created to bring revenue in, right? So if you're just speculating on the token itself and you're diverting energy to burn and you want to buy it, yeah. All I'm saying is we will watch the pTGC value on that side of the pair continue to go up, and it will drag it up. Yes, I agree with you there. It will drag it up.
But what if, like, I'm just throwing out hypothetical scenarios. What if, like, for the degens, I'm just talking to the degens in here in the room. Like, what do you think mathematically that number could be in a year? Like, what happens to burn when it's at 50% burned in correlation with pTGC? Because like effectively, it's going to affect pTGC's price, regardless.
Yeah, it'll always, I think, affect it to the upside just because it exists, unless people that own burn sell their burn into that LP and take the pTGC out at a very high rate to do that, because again, it's a 5 to 5, right? That's why I think that it's...
Well, I'm talking about like just let's take out pTGC out of the scenario, just the liquidity. I know the liquidity is actually relatively small and the slippage kind of sucks, but like longevity type of standpoint.
Well, here's a question I think that I would ask you and you would ask me. To me, it's like, okay, if I have money right now, if I have extra capital, where do I want to deploy it? Right? Do I want to deploy it in the supplementals, or do I want to deploy it in the main thing? It's just a fair question. Regardless of everyone has their own philosophy on how they look at it, right? You know mine.
Yeah.
For me, I'm still wanting to deploy capital in pTGC. Like, I don't give a shit about the other tokens. UFO, I got tons of that. Love that. But I'm buying pTGC like it's going out of style as much as I can and compounding as much as I can. Because pTGC has the mechanics that really can birth an absolute monster. I don't feel the supplementary tokens can do that. They can be speculated on like an awesome meme coin and generate a lot of volume for the system. Yes, they can. I would agree that they can if people wanted to take those and run with them. But for me, pTGC is the token that everything pumps, right? So I'm still at the point where I would rather buy pTGC than what other people perceive to be undervalued supplemental tokens. And everybody hates me for that.
No, it's fine.
Everybody's like, Mando's the gatekeeper, Mando's the... And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I have a voice. I have freedom of speech. That's my philosophy on it. Just like B-Roots and Goo God, they're all they tell you exactly what it is.
Well, yeah, 100%.
And Coach just asked you.
Well, correct. You asked me. I don't just put it out there, you know?
So
you know, but Coach, you knew the answer before you answered it.
I know.
I mean, come on, man. You know, I'm buying pTGC, man. Period.
Okay, then how do you feel about our other kids and other children? Let me ask you that, Coach.
I think the dog wags the tail don't wag the dog. So the only reason the amplifiers are up right now is because pTGC dragged them up, and that's just facts. Yeah, there is people here or there speculating on them, and to each their own, but we know when we launched all the amplifiers, it was specifically to enhance the arbitrage opportunity in legs that we knew were safe. Because at that point on Pulse Chain, we were thinking we've already connected with every token we believed had any longevity and sustainability to it. And every direction we looked at other speculative tokens, there was always something that was like, I don't know if that's a good decision. I don't know if that's a good decision. At least with the amplifiers that we created, we had somewhat control of, let's say, the distribution. We airdropped it to all of the people that were staking at that time to earn PLS. sadly, they didn't just hold it like I was hoping. They literally sold the thing into oblivion. But, you know,
hey, but it's kind of funny. Like when we did airdrop it, the pTGC ecosystem, or like pTGC, effectively like went down in value during that duration of time. So I don't know. I just have that.
I think the pTGC ecosystem pumped at that time. Wait, did you?
No, no, it did not.
But Coach, here's the other thing I'd like to say too, though. There's things that, you know, that were found out along the way, things that were done better, things that could have been done differently, right? That's how it always is.
Yeah.
For example, on UFO, you have the pTGC, and what is it? Yeah, it's the pTGC UFO pair. But because it's a 6 and a 5, look at the volume. Look at the volume on that pair compared to what's in the liquidity web for UFO with the other pairs. So in terms of the arbitrage bots, when you have the higher taxes, 10, 10, or 11, you're getting way less volume. You are getting volume, but it's way less volume. And how much less volume is it on the UFO? On that pair?
That pair really doesn't get much volume, pTGC to UFO, for two reasons. One, because pTGC and UFO are so correlated to each other, they tend to just like move up and down in sync. So naturally for them to spread, and the reason they move up and down together is they have a lot of the same tokens in their pairings, and they have a lot of the same community members in their pairings. So they really move in conjunction together. And if they're moving in conjunction together, there creates no arbitrage opportunity in that pair at all.
And
right.
it's harder. It's harder.
And it's harder. It needs twice as much of an opportunity to present itself compared to a pair with a zero tax token.
Correct.
Yeah.
And honestly, the only reason why I bring this kind of conversation up is for like individuals that have a different kind of like framework and mindset and I don't know, consensus or like frame of mind when it comes to like crypto in general. It's just a broader conversation that I just wanted to bring to the table and kind of like
Coach, I completely
about.
agree. I think eventually Burn Token is going to have a sub community that forms off of it that loves the token, and they can literally do with it whatever they want with the token as they please. All the liquidity there is Burn. The contracts work awesomely. They could build a sub community on that and really thrive with it, I think. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do that. Like, we know what we built it for. We built it for arbitrage bots, but that's crypto for you. Is someone, I believe someone's going to really love it. I think it's a great project, but I personally don't want to push people to that when I know what pTGC and UFO are.
Well, exactly, and we've discussed this like countless times, and I've talked about this on stream and
Coach, just admit it. You're just a damn idiot.
No. I'm here for all the people. I'm here for everybody. It's just like, but at the end of the day, like, there's going to be individuals that come into the space that they're going to look at pTGC and be like, oh, I missed it, and we try to educate people and that kind of like, no, you haven't missed it. You haven't missed the boat. It's going to perform.
So let me ask you a question, Coach. Do we want to divert whatever amount of economic energy that would be coming into pTGC and UFO at this stage? Do we want to divert that energy and dilute it? That really
it wouldn't dilute it because it would be moving up the price and coordinates of Hart's law.
I disagree.
Well, we can happily agree to disagree.
PTGC moves and UFO move much faster, built on top of Pulse Chain going up, if the energy is in the core tokens. by multiples of X's, multiples, right? So everybody can degen their asses off, but when you ask your close community and your larger holders, it's the golden goose has so much eggs to lay, and to divert it into things, my opinion as an investor, it's just not my taste. Now, why wouldn't we want like all of those tokens to like go to $1 billion market cap and degens run them up that way? Of course.
Well, those are the individuals that I'm talking to. I'm not talking to like the whales or anything like that. I'm talking to the people outside looking in to the ecosystem. And there's many different like potentials, but I understand, of course, like the concept of like the economic energy, but like I think about the economic energy a little bit different than everybody else. Everybody knows that I'm a little bit crazy inside, so.
Well, we see it. We saw it with just you see it in anything in crypto, right? Like with our community on Pulse Chain, it all starts with Hex, and then everyone's in love with Hex, and then Pulse Chain forks, and now you have 4 RH tokens, 5 RH tokens with eHex. So now everybody's like diverting, which one's bigger, which one's faster, which one's sexier, which one. And then everybody starts taking in millions and millions of dollars for liquid loans and for all these other things, and for every damn fucking thing under the sun.
Hey, isn't it funny that liquid loans doesn't even shill loan token anymore?
No,
it shills bullshit.
Yeah, but it's just like, that's what I mean, coach. Like for me personally, like we all have the stake on Pulse Chain, obviously, with the liquidity. It's burned. We ain't getting it back. It's in there. Like we're all on the train together. But when you have nothing but just complete, disbursement and dilution in a small community, it's not good for the bags, in my opinion. If you're actually trying to make something go and like go into the billions of market cap. Like until your coin is in the billions of market cap, I just don't think you should be trying to, dilute the economic energy. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm never trying to dilute the economic energy. I'm just like bringing a different, like thinking outside the box when with individuals looking from the outside looking in for like those, like I'm just talking to the degens at the end of the day. I'm not talking about like the true investors and
so like right now
stuff like that.
We burned today like 100 million Pulse Chain worth of pTGC, right?
Yep.
Like, look how powerful that is. Every day we could burn dolphin positions out of it and just gone with the wind right now. Just see ya. Just while Pulse Chain is at a low. Now, I want to see as much transactions and human interaction with pTGC as possible because I know what will happen for the market cap and the community, So I am very much a maxi on the core tokens. I love the liquidity web, but you got to have the volume, right? And Pulse Chain doesn't have enough capital on it. It just doesn't. The reason why pTGC is doing so good right now and everything else isn't is because it has its own way of generating constant perpetual revenue. That's what's so powerful, bro. You know that.
Yeah, well, I 100% know that. But I just wanted to bring another like perspective or just bring another like conversation to the table that I love to have.
I know. I'll watch your live streams, bro.
Hey, but the cool thing is I don't shill my other token, so that's fine. I don't need to. Well, of course, I'm going to talk about it on my streams and try to educate people about it. But like on these spaces, I'm not going to talk about it. It's like I'm here for pTGC. It's like effectively that is exactly what I'm trying to do with that. And then
Because this is a pTGC space.
exactly, that's exactly why I keep it pTGC.
We appreciate it, Croach. That's what the space is for, is pTGC.
But let's pivot and talk about how much more pulse is coming into the DAO in the next couple of days, which is, I think, 900 million pulse coming in.
Yeah, well, you know, our DAO has been filling up pretty nicely this last few weeks. So we've been obviously doing huge LP ads and burn with Hex and creating such a big pairing with Hex. We did a buy and burn of pTGC today, which was a dolphin position, and there's still, you know, like you said, 900 million pulse sitting in the DAO waiting to come out in the next 7 days. It's just powerful, right? And that kind of goes back to why the main thing is the main thing, is just the power that this thing is producing to create a safe, sustainable ecosystem for the people within it, I think is a lot stronger than anything else personally. It just keeps turning over and over and over on yourself, and it's like a snowball effect. And the snowball that we have here with pTGC compared to other things on the blockchain, it's just already so large, and the blockchain is still so undervalued. I just mathematically can see where this will be as soon as the blockchain goes up in price. And I know that this pTGC and even UFO, because the liquidity pairs with UFO are absolutely massive and it's buying and burning so much. But that doesn't mean that the amplifiers aren't good. It's just the momentum that pTGC has gotten just naturally is absolutely amazing. And when that momentum keeps increasing, we all know what happens, right? The momentum's there. The snowball is getting bigger. So it doesn't make sense to break the snowball up or into other pieces, right?
Yeah, I just try to bring that, like, we the people Trump mindset when it comes to crypto as much as possible.
Well,
but
Trump doesn't go and tell you to vote for other people, right?
Well, he does.
We the people, he wants you to vote for him.
Well, he kind of does, but
not
like,
really. I mean,
but like people like
for Trump, if you've studied him for the last 20 years, he pretty much loves himself. I don't think he's telling you to vote for anyone else.
No, not anybody else. In terms of like the president, like pTGC is going to be the president of the United States. But like internally, there is congressional positions, there's Senate positions, there is judges and all that kind of stuff.
You got my metaphor, Coach. My God.
I know.
Oh my God.
I'm just adding.
Coach, you are so damn funny, brother.
Hey,
I'm telling you, man. Coach is you're funny as hell, man. I got to give it to you. Your ass, you don't give a damn.
And the honey badger hasn't even came out yet, too. That's the funny thing.
So what venues are you looking at in San Diego for this get-together?
Hey, Mando, real quick.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I have to go in somewhere real quick? I'm just going to turn my volume down, but you guys can keep going, okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Hey, Zen, make me a co-host just in case somebody wants to come up.
Yeah. Do you have any venues in mind?
Honestly, it was just going to be like at like a pizza place or at a golf course, kind of close by.
Oh, gotcha.
Nothing too crazy. There's actually we had a get together maybe about 2 to 3 months ago, and one of the individuals has what is it called? A hangar. So like at an airport, he has a couple of like planes where he like utilizes a hangar. And he's like, yeah, you can come down and have a DJ and throw a party if you really wanted to. So something like that might come into the table, but I'm just trying to figure out all the kind of like dotted lines there.
Cool, man. Did you see gold?
Dude, gold is the all-time high right now. Like, this market is very different from 2007. That's when I'm kind of correlating everything to. So, what about you, Mando?
Well, I think that it's getting very bullish for things to go. All the indicators are there. And when you see gold like that, that's the canary in the coal mine on the dollar, really. You know, silver's at like 31, like 26. When you have gold going to all-time highs, you know, that means people are fleeing to risk-off assets. You know, they're not wanting to be risk-on. But then you have the rate cut. And then the rate cut, it's an oxymoron. You know, it means that you're going to have more inflation. So now people want to buy more gold. So not everybody's in crypto or whatever else, right? But I think it's all super bullish for Bitcoin. I think you can feel the market gurgling now. It's like bubbling. You can kind of feel it. You can see it in the numbers too, and the gas and the gray on the east and swap costs and stuff like that.
And that kind of just goes back to, you got 1-2 weeks until these prices are going to say, see you later on everything.
Well, hope everybody has done all that they could do. I know there's some people in this room that have done a lot of hard work to build a lot of things on their own, and I wish you the best with all of them, you know. But I do think I'm hopeful that the market does its thing. And can you just imagine if by God's grace it went in Richard's favor and it just got either dropped or some little thing and that's it? Oh my God. That's what I'm praying for, man.
Well, like, just thinking about it in terms of like what effectively happened at the beginning of this year, it's just like people really don't understand like how much FOMO is actually
did you guys
come in the
I
table.
forgot, I wanted to ask you guys this. Did you guys watch Cryptographics' new video on the different basically weights of, he basically put together some numbers that we're looking at the liquidity, and if the liquidity is changed and X amount is injected, he had all the spreadsheets sitting there, the amount of X pulse chain will do. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I did.
Did you watch that, Prairie?
I watched him demonstrate that in a group that I'm in with him. It must have been last Friday. I didn't know he recorded a video on it, but yeah, I was over the moon excited when I saw that.
First it took us to over 1,000x, and then the boldest one where it was like you pulled like 80% of liquidity, 16,000x.
Yep.
And I'm sitting here going, and he's got the spreadsheet. If you're the spreadsheet guys, you know he's got the numbers right in terms of the multipliers, on how the formulas work with the AMM. I'm sitting here going, holy shit, 64x, 250x, and it's not even.
I want to say it's like 980 million. It all depends on what RH, we're assuming that he brings this over. It all depends on how he plays the LP and how much he brings over.
Right, but my point with it, Perry, I want your feedback, but it wasn't what he does. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. It was just looking at the actual real math of, because I know what capital is there. This is hypothetical, obviously, but I know what capital is there. So even with just portions of it in those scenarios, and the amount that we see the community win is just astronomical. And I mean the entire pulse chain community. It's just it's a lot less than people think.
Yeah. So everybody go to Cryptographics channel and watch that video all the way through. Give it a thumbs up. He's a friend of our community, so we can support him by watching this 16-minute video. And you will be excited. If you haven't seen it yet, you will be excited about Pulse Chain after watching this one. So yeah, and I'm going to watch it for sure.
Do you remember? I think it was like 100 and something million or 200, and it was like a 64x to like 100x on the first scenario.
Well, I'm looking at it on the screen right here. First scenario, and I might be looking at a different screen than you, a different part of the spreadsheet he was using. But let me see if I can get this set. Funds required for a 64x. For a 64x, $29 million. And then for the biggest number in X's that he mentioned was the 16,000X, and that would require 460 million. Which, I agree with you, that does not sound like a lot of funds required for that many X's. You guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. And so I was saying to myself, my goodness, I know he's pretty proficient in this stuff, and I know you are too with the numbers.
He's way more so. he's advanced for me, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that is an astronomical amount.
That'd be a 72-cent pulse. 72 cents per pulse.
You want to know what price?
I'm not bullish enough, man. I'm over here 1 cent, and I'm like,
PTGC is going to be 73 cents at least.
I remember when Hex was at these prices on Ethereum, this pTGC prices. It's just after going through all that and just seeing other stuff, you never know, man.
This latest pump with pTGC reminds me of when I first got into Hex, when it was on its run up at 12 cents. I bought Hex at 12 cents and it did like a 3x within 10 or 14 days. And I was pumped, man. And I kept dollar cost averaging in. I didn't know a thing back then about market cycles, but
you're like, I made $400, dude, out of 20. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how everybody gets hooked, man. They put that first $100 in there, 10x's.
I was putting in way more than $100.
Not me when I started, man. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna waste my money.
But this pTGC run up reminds me of that. Only this one's longer. It's just it's exciting. Just like that hex run up was. Only that run up was at the end of the cycle. This one's also at the beginning of the cycle. Big difference.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Hey, how's it going?
it's going good, man. We're just chilling out. How are you?
Doing good. Hey, just like a question. I just heard Coach talking in the 9-inch one earlier today about the liquidity between DAI and USDC, or the buy and burn, the minting, and the burning and the minting that occurred on that. Would it not make sense for UFO or pTGC to create a pair? I don't see a significant one with USDC to kind of, I guess, save us from if people burn or people mint, or like either or.
No, the entire reason why that happens is to create equilibrium between the two pairs.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, right now there's a difference between the two, right? So like USDC is 26.0026 and pDAI is 0.0029. If in the long run we have to basically get parity, is what the intention is for the P maker, would that not make sense for us to attempt to create a liquidity pool to try and like take advantage of that?
Well, the only thing I would say to that is people that actually speculated on PUSDC internally could create that and make that happen. But like in correlation with like kind of like what the DAO is kind of like
The reason, Coach, why people don't talk about it in those terms is because there's administrative keys that Circle owns on those tokens, and there's the regulatory environment. So with DAI and the fork of DAI, there is no administrative keys. It can't be shut down in that sense. So that's why the speculation play is so dominant on pDAI, because it's what Richard holds the most of, what he had the biggest amount of forked over, and the decentralized nature of that token. That's why the narrative is there. In terms of buying the other token, I mean, to me, like the entire Atropa ecosystem and everything that's going on there, and then with pDAI, it's like, it is a speculation, and pTGC is just basically about volume. It's not about keeping up with a bunch of speculation tokens, right? You're going to benefit no matter what. Anytime you create a large liquidity pool with pTGC, you're going to benefit from it. The question is, what do you want to be putting the current economic energy that's coming into the system? Where do you want to be deploying that for long-term longevity? Right? So it's not just one question.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So it wouldn't make sense to try and hedge against each other.
Well, let me give it,
because like pDAI is, I guess, because it sounds like the USD side of it has the potential to be shut down, which is a higher risk than the pDAI side. So that's kind of why we paired with the pDAI and not the USD.
Native keys on those tokens that somebody else owns. That's not the case with pDAI. But if you're speculating on that PRC copied over stablecoin pegging to a dollar narrative, right? It's obvious that pDAI has that narrative connected to the Atropa ecosystem. And if pDAI doesn't go to $1, there's no reason to think that USDC is going to $1. When everything over there is connected to makers happening with pDAI in mind, in terms of the paganism, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The narrative is there.
Gotcha. It just sounded like we're going to have this issue, though, because with the paganism, like we're going to be pulling USDC up with us. But what I'm understanding then is because of the risk factor on the USDC side, that it makes more sense to just continue pairing with the P dye. But it just sounds like no matter what we do, people are going to be able to take advantage of that.
Well, I feel like the nature of what you're saying is like that there's a negative, right? But the system benefits from it. Like there's no crystal ball when it comes to P dye or any of these forked over things at all.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm definitely not negative on pTGC. I
didn't insinuate that. I meant that what we witnessed today with P dye, that somehow was some negative thing, either on our system or on our, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it actually paid a bunch of people out, burnt more of our tokens, put more LP in the pools, and, got more pulse in the treasury.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the power of it. Do you want to deploy? I think right now the issue is that you, and I think you agree, man. With RH tickers this low, it's like buying Ethereum at like 30 cents.
I mean, that's a good point too.
Let's be real. Like that's where all the forever value is. And when you can put that much economic energy into those tier one assets on the blockchain, that's what's going to give you and me and Gugod and everybody in here that, like, for example, when this system does a 5 to 10x from here, Richard Hart's ecosystem, dude, the people that own these tokens, you're going to have an instant liquidity web worth $50, $70 million plus, whatever it is.
That's insane.
It doesn't even matter after that anymore, like in that sense. You see what I'm saying?
No, I gotcha. That makes total sense. Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking my question.
Yeah, that whole MakerDAO thing, it kerfluffles people, but
for sure.
It's a great question, though. I like the question. Thanks for coming up.
Who else has a question or a comment?
Also, just really quick while I have you guys, what's the easiest place to see your positions? I've never been able to figure out like what I'm a shark in, what I'm a octopus in, a piranha. I just, for like the UFO and pTGC, I hear you guys talking about what position you're in all the time. I just haven't been able to really see that.
Are you in the Telegram?
Yeah, so if you go into the Telegram, and just check it out in there right now.
What is it? Forward slant.
Go ahead and put the leagues there.
Leagues.
And you can just copy that to your phone, save the image. Did you ask about a dolphin right now?
I have no idea what I am right now. I think I'm an octopus, but I could be absolutely wrong.
Okay. Yeah. So you'd go to the website, man, connect, and then click on, staking, go down to the bottom, and it'll give you all the information on how much you have locked, how much you have staked, all that information. And then you just compare how much you have of each token on the chart that I just put into the TG, and you'll see where you fall out in the leagues.
Okay. Let me see here. pTGC. I didn't bring it in.
So, Lamp, can I ask you a question?
For sure.
When did the light bulb go off for you in regards to pTGC with your lamp?
I've been in Richard Hart tickers I sacrificed for PLS Hex. That was when I got in. I was not a Hex guy before. I hadn't really heard about it. I was heavily into BNB before that. and I've kind of shifted pretty much my entire focus into the Pulse J ecosystem, and that, yeah, I've significant gains inside of here. Let's just say that. pTGC came in my radar probably a month after it launched, and I've been a holder since.
What brought you here? Let me ask you that question. Like, do you see like different like ideas from different tokens like on BNB, or you just understood the mechanisms that are into play?
Well, a lot of success and a lot of failure, definitely. So like I started with what was that called? It was Binance's initial thing that eventually got banned. I know it was just called Binance, but it was like their web page where you had like it was like their first iteration. You could buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. It was just back in the day when all this stuff was really getting going, and there wasn't like a whole bunch of security on it. And so it kind of started there. And then I got into a project called Titano in BNB, made significant profit there. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that. It's since been rugged, I believe. I looked at it a little while ago and didn't see a lot of volume in there. But pretty much since then, I saw, I can't even remember who it was. Someone just turned me on to Richard Hart, and I watched a couple of his videos. I was like, you know what? I'll sacrifice for PLSX, because that's when I got into it. And Titano was a similar project, I would say, to, like, it was a buy and hold, and then you get rewarded for holding. So I kind of understood that. I don't know if you recall, but I asked you a question like 3 or 4 months ago, Coach, and you responded to it. But I was asking about liquidity pairs and trying to figure everything out with pTGC and UFO and how the X's work. And it kind of has been like the more and more that I've looked at the greatest currency and this entire PLS Richard Hart tickers, I know that I'm here early. You look at what Ethereum did, you look at what Bitcoin did, you look at what BNB did, Solana, definitely here. Like, we're not even at the hundreds of millions of dollars of market cap that some of these random meme coins hit. So,
can you say that again? Can you say that again for the audience? I didn't hear it. I'm just playing.
Lamp. If you look at,
but like, if you had to talk about pTGC and give like an elevator pitch to somebody else, what would that be?
Getting paid out. Let me think here. Just give me a second. Put me on the spot.
I know. I apologize. Come on. It's like you're at the bar. You're talking to your homie. You know, like, so, give your elevator pitch about pTGC.
So what it is you buy the token, and there's obviously more in-depth things you can do with pTGC and the UFO pair. But at its base, you hold the token, and as buys occur, you get paid out a portion of those buy fees. And so you just sit there and accrue. Now, if you stake, which is...
Sorry, go ahead. That was on accident. Lamp, bottom left. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize I got muted. essentially, it's a token that has really low market cap right now. It's very undervalued. And when you buy it and you hold it, you get paid out by other people buying it. And just by the market moving up and down, you get paid out in pTGC.
Lamp, real quick. What do you mean? Like, just from other people buying it? And what do you mean by the market? I'm trying to be your buddy, by the way.
You're good. It's just the crypto market. So when people buy Grace currency in using any one of the pairs, and when I say pairs, I'm talking about like USDC, PLS, PLSX, all of the core coins, or the main, if you wanted to think about it, the dollar, the USD. Every time someone does a transaction, you get paid out a portion of that, and then the other portion of that gets burned, and it deflates how many current coins are available.
So what you're telling me, it's like whenever there's an action, there's a reaction?
Correct. Absolutely.
Constantly? So when do I sell? Do I sell PGC, or what does PGC do for me?
Well, I don't sell pTGC. I have paired it with UFO, and it's not the biggest mover, but I've paired UFO with. I'm sorry, we're still going on about the pTGC, but no, you just take your rewards. If you want to take profit, take your rewards. And
I'm a newbie. Remember this. I'm a newbie. I know nothing about crypto.
No, you do not sell your initial amount. You lock your initial amount for 5 years, can't touch it, and then just take your rewards. All you do.
So where do I get my rewards from? Like thin air?
Just holding and claiming when you need to, if you want to.
Where does the rewards that I get from the staking, is it inflationary, or where's that come from?
It's part of the burns.
What do you mean it's part of the burns? So it just dropped from my wallet? The fee, from what? What's the fee from?
From the transactions.
Oh yeah, the 5% fee that comes from a transaction. Okay. So whenever there's an action, there's a reaction in another liquidity pool that always provides some kind of value to the ecosystem.
Correct.
Oh, all right. I'm on my way. How do I bridge the pull chain now?
What a concept.
So how do I bridge the pull chain? I'm just playing.
Go full.com.
I'm just playing. Yeah, 100%. Exactly. So, Lamp, thank you for being the guinea pig of the night. You were perfect.
Yeah,
I'm just playing, bro. But honestly, on a serious note, if you had to give ballpark numbers and your thoughts of what you're educated on the ecosystem, what do you think pTGC and or UFO can do in this bull market cycle going the next year? It's
gonna hit the moon. That's all I'm gonna say. I have no idea. I'm along for the ride.
No numbers?
Here long term.
No ballpark numbers that you want to give?
Not that I can.
Honestly,
my dream
bro,
100 million, but you guys are sitting here telling me that that's super attainable. So
That's a 2x from here, bro.
I know. But I'm already up. What is it, like a 700% or so on my initial investment, if not more. Thank you.
Like, honestly, like, if Pulse Chain does what it's going to do, like, I don't even give pTGC a number because they can't get a number at the end of the day. It really can't. Like, I honestly don't know what it's going to do.
Excuse me, sorry.
Zen, are you still in your store, or what's up with you? Zen, you there? Okay, he's still not there. It's all good. So I guess it's the Koshin Banana Show and the Lamb Show right now.
The Coach Banana Lamb Show.
Did you already move that thing that you needed to move?
Yeah, the piano, thankfully, yes. Got to move it again tomorrow. Back where it was.
How big of a piano is it?
It's a full-size upright. Yeah, it's an upright piano.
Oh.
Yeah, it takes four men to carry it. We did it with 2 just because we moved it up one step, just one, into the dining area. And we'll move it down tomorrow, but it takes 2 guys to do it. And we use those nice orange straps you can get at Home Depot. Put it underneath it, put your forearm through there, and yeah. But I mean, that thing probably weighs, I'm guessing it weighs maybe like 1,000 or 1,200 pounds. Yeah, moving pianos is not something you want to do every day.
I had to move. So when my parents got divorced when I was a kid, we had to move the piano from our house. So it's the same kind of piano, that size.
Sure.
From our house and then into a U-Haul. And we didn't get movers because my parents were broke people. Not really broke, but like bankers and stingy with money. So I did all the work. Actually, me and my friends did all the work. But yeah, that was a bitch of a move.
Yeah. Google says they'll weigh anywhere between 500 and 1,000 pounds. Yeah, it's very, very, very heavy. So you gotta be careful. Use your head, use your legs, not your back. You know, all that.
Yeah.
But I think we have been going for 2.25 hours. We're gonna do this again on Saturday. And unless anybody's opposed to it, I'm open to shutting it down or reconvening on Saturday.
Yeah, if Zen's there, Zen, you there, right?
I think he may have fallen asleep. I'm kidding, but
well, it's 7:45. I know his time. I know his timetable. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot. But if you guys want to stay in, I am a co-host. So if you want to come up and hang out and talk, go for it. For people that want to exit until Zen rugs the space, feel free.
Okay.
So I'm down for a little bit.
Well, the guy that moved the piano this evening is going to close down the stream and exit the space. And I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Sounds good.
All right. It was fun. All right, guys. Before I end the stream, I am going to play the video.
Stylist, get up here. I know it's in the AM for you. Get up here. All right.
What should
Let's
we
see.
talk about?
I'm gonna practice.
I got the open mic. What should we talk about?
All right, we're gonna do this here.
A little push, always like that shove
No,
always
not that
comes
one,
into
not that
play. What's up? Hold on. She
We're gonna end
is
this on
coming
a
up
bang.
here in a second.
I'm calling it right now. Versus pulse chain. Versus pulse chain. We're going to be talking about this a lot in the next year. We are about to see, not financial advice, please do not take this as financial advice. This is all speculation.
100%.
I feel we are about to see the largest hockey stick you've ever seen in your life.